Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Good Monday morning. Okay, the sound check is passed. Yay. We have sound, we have mic, we have audio. Let's see if we have audience. Yay. Good morning, Little Mouse 27. Thank you for your membership on the channel. Follow the Bradley's Fun. We are about to have some fun this morning because hang in with Erica and Raph. Erica is going to be with us. And Cruising is Fun Anytime is here with us this morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning, my dear. Hope you are well today. As you're coming in the door, don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button. Get the stream out to as many people as we can. We are going a little early this morning, and hopefully this becomes our regular time slot, at least for a little while. Nolan Shogi is in the house. Yeah, we moved up to 9:30 because I want to be able to continue to stream right into culture, but I also wanted to go longer, and so I had to bump the show up instead of down. Which, hey, I gotta be honest, I don't love being here super early in the morning, but it is what it is. Just my, I'm not really not exactly what you'd call a morning person. I have to go to bed so early to get up this early, but yeah. But welcome in, everybody. We've got some fun things to discuss today, and we have a very special guest with us all the way from across the pond. As we're coming in today, we're coming in. We got, it's like almost 2 minutes. As Pro says on his, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lights will dim here at the Daily Dish as we prepare for our nighttime spectacular. Actually, this is a morning spectacular, but there will actually be fireworks, so that's kind of fun. My family hates that I can function in the morning. Man, I used to be able to function all times of the day, but I'm in my 50s. I keep thinking I'm 53, but I haven't turned 53 yet. I'm still only 52. But caffeine helps. And I'm going to start this week working out again. I started last week. I worked out twice, but I'm trying to go at least 5 days this week. So that's the plan. That's the plan, Stan. So I get up, get ready, shower, get dressed, show prep, and then I do the show, and after the show, I do my workout. So that's the whole plan. My husband is a morning person too, and he is in denial. The question is not whether he's in denial. The question is, what time zone is he in? I see you laughing at that. Are you just going to stream from Disney World on Friday or other different parks? It will be more than one park. So I'm working on access to Universal. Definitely SeaWorld is in there. But hopefully just about every park, and it won't just be Friday nights. I'm starting with Friday nights, but I plan on moving to other parks as well. All right. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, live. Cool.
Welcome back, Fun Fam. And if you're brand new to this channel, welcome in to follow the Bradley's Fun, the Daily Dish. That's what we do here. We come up every morning and we find things that are going on in the parks or pop culture or how they might even interact with each other. And we dish about all of that. So I hope wherever you are, you're having a phenomenal day. Speaking of the day, as of today, the recording of this is July the 29th, 2024. And we had a busy weekend. Some of this breaking news happened while I was asleep on Saturday. There were some big things that happened. But first and foremost, I want to see who all is in the house and joining us this morning. So we have Little Mouse 27, a member of the channel. She says hi. And we've got Cruising is Fun Anytime. Says good morning. Good morning. Cruising is Fun Anytime. Going Shogi, one of our members, one of our mods, is in the house. And I've changed some of the moderators around. So I appreciate you doing that for us. Going Shogi. My family hates that I can function in the mornings. Well, I just hate attempting to function in the mornings. So it's not always easy. And then we have, are you just going to stream from Disney World on Fridays? My Friday plan is to stream from all over Orlando, probably a lot of Disney, but there'll be other places too. And Little Mouse says, cool, and I can't wait. And our special guest, who is in the house with us, says hi. That is Erica from Hanging with Erica and Raph. Let's bring her on now and add her to the stage. Hello, Erica. How are you doing over there in Germany?
Good. Doing good. Fall is approaching very quickly here.
Oh, I remember autumn. We don't have those because I live in Florida. Yeah, autumn, man. Autumn in Florida doesn't. It's so funny because people ask about the colors changing here as far as the trees and stuff. They do actually, but they don't change until December. Like there's a few. So our colors that do happen when they happen in December around Christmas. It's really funny because you're like, all these beautiful lights are up. There's a Snope. We call it Snope. That's the fake snow that you can wash yourself with. That's a fun time. Yeah, so we've got that kind of stuff. We've got some members in the house over here. We've got Go and Shogi. You're a member, of course, of the channel, so appreciate that. And Little Mouse is saying that they can't wait. And one of the things that we like to do on the channel when we get Oh, and Going Chuggy says, says not much of an autumn in California either. Yeah, I understand. Well, it depends on where you are in California because it's such a big state. I mean, California, I think, takes up as much of the West Coast as about 10 or 12 states do here on the East Coast. So it's kind of crazy when you're out there. But Southern California, yeah, not that much. But one of the things that we like to do on the channel, and I like to show on the channel, is what happens if we see a super, or we see a super chat, super sticker, super things, or we have some memberships dropped, or somebody becomes a member. We like to do a celebration. And I like to show you a little preview of what that celebration looks like. So we're going to celebrate first thing in the morning right now.
Is it too much? Too much. It's just perfect. Oh, this is just the best of my scene.
My wife loves that celebration. However, there were I got to sleep really early, and then I was woken up close to 1 o'clock because our son had gotten up. So my wife got up to deal with him, and so she's probably not even awake yet, which is perfectly fine. She will probably join us. And one of the things that I wanted to do was have a longer stream so that people could join us more as the stream is out there. It seems like the longer streams are on, the more people join. I don't know. I'm still new to this whole YouTube thing after a year. Speaking of being new to YouTube, Erica, tell people what you put on your channel.
So we loaded our first video, and it's a tour of a castle ruin just 10 minutes from the house. So we're slowly getting more comfortable with filming and editing. And yeah, we just got the one video up right now, and I'm editing 2 other videos, and a third one hasn't even
how far is the castle from your house?
About 10 minutes from us.
That's very cool. So my experience with European castles is this. In 2009, a friend of mine from high school was getting married. Now I met her in junior high when she was at least 6 inches, if not a foot taller than me before I had grown. Super tall girl. And she was from Scotland. So I'm not sure if she lives in Scotland now, but she very, very much wanted to have a Scottish traditional wedding when she got married in 2009. And so we flew over to Scotland for the wedding, and the whole wedding was in the Castle Dundas, which was a castle from the 1500s that still operates today. It's in South Queensferry, so I'm not sure which direction it is from Edinburgh, but it's very close to Edinburgh, Scotland. And we had the whole deal, and I learned how to speak Scottish, which apparently is also English, but doesn't sound English at all.
Just a different dialect.
I'm over here. We're going to drink and get some haggis and tatties. That'd be great, right? I'm like, oh, I can understand that. One of my favorite comedy videos on the internet is 2 Scottish guys that are in a talking, like an elevator that you give voice commands to, and they're speaking Scottish. They're speaking with the Scottish accent, so they don't, like, the elevator doesn't understand them. I'll say, go to floor 9, you know. What's wrong with you? And so they can't get the elevator to move, and they're stuck. It's pretty funny. Canadian family life. We've got Germany and Canada and California. Where are you from, Little Mouse? You can put that in the chat if you want to. What part of the world you're watching from? So we've got about 10 people in here. I want to get going with some of these stories. And again, just to let everybody know, this is our first upgraded show. So if you notice, the StreamYard logo is gone, but that's like literally the only thing that I've changed so far. But I will be able to do a lot more. I just have to get into it and figure out what all I'm going to be able to do. But I'm also recording this show, so perhaps if there are segments that I can reuse, I'll be able to reuse those segments, and we'll see what happens. I don't know yet, because I literally just upgraded with the purchase this morning in StreamYard, and this is the part of YouTube I'm still learning. I have actually, I think, gotten pretty decent at the whole editing thing when it comes to vlogs and vlogging. But the hard part of YouTube is, boy, getting it all out there, man. I'm telling you, getting people to watch, because a lot of people, they stick to their brands that they like. And even though I look at some of and one of the reasons I wanted to enter into the Disney blogosphere is because I see some of the people that do Disney vlogs and people like, and they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I'm like, what do people like about that? I don't get it. A lot of time there, I mean, some of these videos, maybe people like just watching the day-to-day mundane step-by-step through the day, but that's just not entertaining to me. And so I wanted to make more uplifting, fun, entertaining videos that also have some very specific information, but not like tainted information, not like Disney told me to tell you so it sounds good, but more like, hey, if you're expecting the cleanest park in the world and you happen to see all this trash all over, don't be surprised, because there's some things that have changed, and I don't want people to build up expectations in their mind and then have them ruined. Speaking of building up expectations, let's talk about something that is greatly expected for next year here in Florida. And this is the first thing that we're going to get to. And I know Erica's excited about this because she was commenting on it. And that is...
I woke up to this video.
Yeah, this is cool. Now, see, no, I know where this is. I know exactly where this was videoed from, because there's a number of apartment complexes that are literally adjacent to the land that Epic Universe is being built on. I couldn't live in those complexes. The noise eventually would just get to me. I'd have to move after a while. Well, they're really expensive. Like, that's where a 2-bedroom apartment is around $3,000 a month right now, which is just absolutely ridiculous, because they were $1,600 just a few years ago. It's just gone up crazy since 2021. But let's see if I can open this up. And I think this one I'm probably okay to play the audio on. Well, there's no music to it. No, it's just some fireworks testing. So this is what appears to be fireworks testing at Epic Universe. We're guessing it is because one of the fireworks looks like a Pokemon ball. So let's check it out. No music, just the fireworks. Hey, there it is, Pokemon ball. Yep. Or Pokeball. If they have a Pikachu firework that comes out of that, that'd be awesome. I love that we can hear the crickets in the background. Oh yeah, and the cicadas. It's the year for that, right? There's 2 different kinds of come out. Gosh, man, I can't wait. I wonder what time these take place. I should be able to see this from my house, but I'm a lot further away. Well, it doesn't look like it's too dark outside. I don't know. Well, there's a lot of ground light in that area, though. Yeah, it's true. So yeah, this is some fireworks testing that is being done right now for Epic Universe. Now, where that is, it's hard to describe if you either haven't been to Orlando or don't live in Orlando. I of course live here, so it's about 15-20 minutes from my house, and typically that direction I can see the fireworks because I can see like the top of Universal fireworks when they do fireworks. I can also see SeaWorld's fireworks very well from my house. SeaWorld is much closer to me, but it's so weird because I have to take like ground streets to get there. So there's like, I don't know, 20 stoplights between me and SeaWorld. So it's depending on how the stoplights run is how long it takes me to get to SeaWorld from my house. Where you lived in Florida, right, Erica?
Oh yeah, I was raised in Florida, in Tampa, born and
In
raised.
Tampa. Okay. And
Hmm.
how long have you been overseas?
Oh gosh, Raf's been in with the DoD for 20 years. This
Oh,
2024, and so 3 years in Japan and 11 years here in Germany. So most of his career, we've been overseas.
I wonder
Yeah.
what's the name of the base that you're at?
Ramstein Air
Oh,
Force Base,
you're in, okay, so you're an Air Force
and there's
base.
other bases around us. So he was Air Force previously. Now he's working for the Army as a civilian.
Okay.
So he's working on a really small Army base, about 20 minutes from us.
So my stepdad served in Germany during the Vietnam War, and I'm just wondering which he was Army, so I don't know which
There's
which
so
base
many
he was
small
at.
Army pockets, like these little tiny Army bases. It's kind of weird how the Army has everything set up. The Air Force, it just had this like one base where
Yeah.
everything's just housed.
And when you come to the States, you usually come to Florida, or do you
Mhm.
where's Raph from? Okay, so it's usually Florida. Well, you got
Well,
family
Raph
here, I'm
was,
assuming?
yeah, everyone's in Tampa. I have a sibling in Orlando. We've got family in Miami. Now, Raph was raised in the Air Force, so it's hard for him to hail himself as being raised anywhere because they moved around. But my father-in-law basically retired in Tampa.
Okay. Cool. My wife, she is here this morning. Hello to my beautiful wife. Good morning, Virginia Bradley. My beautiful wife. Good morning, everyone. She says she
Good
and I got
morning.
married in Clearwater, Clearwater
Oh,
Beach. So not too far from where you are. Dan's Life at the Kingdom is here. Yeah, Dan, we are a little bit early this morning. We started at 9:30. We bumped up the time, so we could go a little bit longer. And Erica, if you haven't checked them out, this is actually a good channel for you. Tuber Chat. Tuber Chat will help your
okay.
channel get
I have
out
to write
there.
that down because I
Yeah.
will forget.
Yeah, so Tuber Chat will help you get your channel out there and get noticed by a lot more people. It's a really good community of creators that all help each other just build and grow our channels. And they do live streams so that you can get to know other creators from around the world, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
And Kevin from Tuber Chat says hello at Go and Show Ye, Virginia Bradley Adventures, Dan's Like the Kingdom, Canadian Family Life, Bud Files. That's Sue. Hello, Tuber. Hello, everybody. So yeah, so we're talking about, first of all, something that's very exciting that's coming to Florida next year. Well, it's actually here. It's just still being built. It's not open yet. And that is Epic Universe. And it's going to be epic. And they're testing the fireworks over there. And one of them looked like a Pokemon ball. So if you're into Pokemon, that was very cool. But another thing that happened over the weekend was great success with Deadpool and Wolverine. And we're going to share this. Oh my gosh, this is crazy level success. So this is the numbers. That is a website that calculates all of the production costs, box office, everything for all the movies that are mainstream that are out there. And this is for Deadpool and Wolverine. The domestic buy, now these are estimates because the final numbers haven't come in yet from the weekend, but we're talking about Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday showings. So 4 days of showings, like 3.5 days, because on Thursday, I remember on the Thursdays, They used to only have a midnight showing, which is they actually had to start at like 12:01, so it was technically the next day, so it's Friday. And then some, let's just say, accidents happened at theaters, and they decided to change that and bump that up and actually do a preview. So now we've got previews as early as 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursdays when they do a Friday opening. So they can call it a Friday opening and then actually open it Thursday night, which I think this movie had the number one Thursday night opening ever for an R-rated movie. It now has the number one opening for any R-rated comic book superhero movie. Worldwide box office current estimate is $438,300,000. So basically $440 million. That means it has likely made back its production budget and probably a lot of the marketing budget. Any movie that can basically break even its first weekend and have everything else that comes after be gravy on top, basically be profit, that's a good movie as far as box office is concerned. Yeah. I love the Go and Show. I just read this comment over here. This is funny. Shame that the profits are already spent. Yeah, this is a little bit behind. And you know, it was funny because in 2019 they were profiting off the movie so much, and this was like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I mean, they had so many strings of hits. They had Frozen, they had the MCU, the 3 Star Wars movies that were each one received less well than the previous one, still were box office hits. They still made billions of dollars at the box office. And so Disney had a lot of income. I mean, billions and billions. I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe has crossed $34 billion worldwide income-wise so far. But I don't know how much the costs are in comparison to that, but that's a lot of money. And so here's the thing. They used to take that money and spend it in the parks. Now the parks are making all the money and they don't have any money to spend. That is kind of sad. Speaking of the parks, the reason I brought this up is because with the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, of course, they're going to want some representation in the park. So they have put both Deadpool and Wolverine in the Avengers Campus locations. There's one in Disney's California Adventure, and I believe there's another one in France. Have you been to the France parks, Erica?
No, we haven't. And we're always been intimidated to drive into Paris by ourselves.
How far is that from Germany?
We are about, depending on construction, I'd say about 4 hours, maybe
so
4.5. But we can. Far. When we first got here, it was about 3.5 hour drive, but been a lot of construction into Paris.
There's no like
I won't
train
touch it right now.
No. What about a train? Can you take a train in? No.
Yeah, I talked to our leisure travel we have on Ramstein, and they said we can take a train straight into the park, but we would have to change tracks along the way. And actually, I guess transferring our luggage, from what she told us, is a pain in the rear. So she just kind of gave us a heads up. You can take the train, but you're going to have to change tracks and make sure you get your luggage, because it's not like flying, I guess, where they ensure your luggage gets to your connecting flight.
Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting. It's not out of all of the worldwide parks, the ones in France are the ones I want to visit the least. Yeah, maybe Hong Kong, actually. Tokyo is definitely number one on my list. I would love to visit Shanghai, just at least once to see it, because the castle over there. Juliet is in the house. She says, "Good afternoon, Bradley's and those in the chat." Hello, Juliet. So what we're looking at here, this is my short that I made of I took the video and then kind of re-edited it and made it into a short, so you can kind of see what they're doing with this, as far as they're joking around in the parks.
unending, just like Splash Mountain.
Yeah, so they're doing a Splash Mountain joke. Let's see if this will play over.
I
You
heard
can see
about
it.
this, but
My
Oh.
jokes are not outdated. They are hilarious and modern and unending, just like Splash Mountain. Too soon.
I have so many questions
My
about that.
joke.
So I always understood that when the characters, were on stage and that they only died with each other in terms of their universe, like their world. I find that really strange that he's going outside of like that universe to talk about our world and an attraction. I don't know. Is
Well,
that common? Or maybe I have it
it is for
wrong.
Deadpool. So Deadpool specifically is a fourth wall breaking character, even in the movies. So for example, he breaks the fourth wall in the movies. Like he'll look at the camera. When Wolverine, like the idea is that Deadpool and Wolverine are joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe, coming over from Fox, and he talks about it in the movie itself. And he
Okay.
says, "Hey, Wolverine, welcome to Marvel. You've kind of entered at a low point." So he jokes about that. Yeah. Yeah. I
now I'm
mean, in the
understanding
movie,
commentary
Deadpool
from
rags.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty funny. My bigger question about having these characters in the parks is the questions that you're going to get from the kids. Because,
Yeah.
their interaction in the parks is going to be fine. Wolverine and Deadpool, and they're not going to say anything, blue or R-rated or anything like that.
Mhm.
But kids are going to love this. And then the kids are like, so why can't I watch the
The
movie?
movie. Yeah. That was my thing on Pros Live. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Because I was like, How does this work? These are comics, and the comics are for kids, generally speaking. And the rated R thing into a comic movie, I have had a hard time reconciling that because it just seems unfair to at least little boys at the.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing, like comics aren't even really written for children anymore.
Okay. That
It's
I was
kind of a
wondering about
weird
that.
thing. Obviously, during our times growing up,
Yeah,
the
right.
1970s, 80s, even through a lot of
Right.
the 90s, comics were generally speaking written
For
towards
kids.
children and teenagers. And then the people that liked the comics started to grow up and started to make the comics, and they just decided that they'd make it for themselves. and
Okay.
so comics, and yeah, in the 70s, Marvel was always good about tackling alcohol abuse, drug abuse, things like that
Mhm.
in their comics. They would tackle them, but they did it in a way that if you're a 9-year-old reading, you'd either gloss over it or you'd have a better understanding. It wasn't blue, it wasn't R-rated, it wasn't that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. But later in the 1980s and 1990s, they started to get into some more adult theming in
Mhm.
comics, and they had characters that were shown doing adult things together.
Oh gosh,
And
that's weird.
a lot of it was with Batman. Bruce Wayne was all around the town, and he was every bit the playboy you'd expect him to be, and they showed a lot of it.
I did not know
And
that about Batman. Okay.
yeah, Batman,
That's something new.
Tony Stark, all the comics, they did a lot of that stuff. Some of it's probably in some graphic novels I have even behind me, but
I didn't
they
follow any of that because I wasn't a boy, and it wasn't, and I didn't come from a boy family, and my dad is from Cuba, so all he was interested in was watching PBS and reading his history books. So he was a different kind of nerd.
yeah.
So I was not introduced to any of that stuff.
So yeah, all of that like the movies, clearly, like the Marvel movies are generally speaking made for adults, PG-13, maybe have a cut. I'll never forget this. I was watching Transformers, the movie, the 1985 version or 86, whenever it came out. It was basically the Transformers were a very popular cartoon series.
I
on
remember that.
television, right?
Mhm.
The Hasbro
Yep.
television cartoon series. They were, I believe, Transformers were not Saturday morning; they were after school.
Yeah.
And I watched. I was so into Transformers. And
Yeah, a lot of the
in
boys I went to
80,
school with were that's all they talked about,
yeah,
that and G.I. Joe.
and GI Joe. I wasn't as into GI Joe, although they were kind of part of the same. You know, one would
Mhm.
run into each other on in the afternoon. Well, I was really into Transformers. I bought a lot of Transformers. When I went to work at age 15, it was so that I could have money to buy Transformer toys with. I bought a lot of Transformer toys back then, which is not easy to do when you're making $2.85 minimum wage an hour back in the 1980s. So I was doing that, and oh goodness gracious. So the movie comes out, right?
Mhm.
And the movie is set in the same universe, but it takes place in the future around the year
Mm.
2000. That
Oh,
was
interesting.
It was a very futuristic year 2000. They had taken the hoverboard idea from Back to the Future. They put that in there. They
I
put
was just
other,
gonna I went straight to
yeah,
Back to the Future. Is it that
yeah.
version of the future?
It's that, but more so because it's like, I mean, Back to the Future took place in 2015. This took place in 2000, which was funny because when I look back on 2000, nothing like that.
No.
We didn't get that futuristic. Anyhow, so this was the first time that I was ever watching a comic movie, an animated comic movie, nonetheless, made for kids, and there was a
Mm.
swear word in it, and it just popped out at me like, "Oh!" He said, "What?" And I was like 14 or I want to say 13,
Yeah,
14
I was
when this
5 years
movie
old in
came out.
1985.
Yeah.
So,
But for me, as still a young kid,
mm,
not, kind of early teens, it was like, oh, they put that in a movie. And from there, boundaries started to get pushed. The Batman movie of 1989 and then Batman 2. Batman 2 became really, really controversial. Batman Returns for this very reason, because parents were actually calling for a boycott of that movie because they felt that it was aimed at children. They had a lot of children's merchandising with it, tied in with like
mhm,
McDonald's and that kind of stuff. And parents were calling for a boycott back then. And
makes
since
sense.
then, it's just gotten more and more and more. Blade was rated R, I believe, when it
It's like
came
the
out.
comic industry just kinda grew with the Gen X generation. It didn't just keep catering to kids. It just kinda grew
Yeah.
with
And so
us in a way.
now, of course, when you read comics, it's from what I understand. Now, I personally have not seen an actual released comic book in a long time, like a modern comic book. It's my understanding, and this is why I haven't seen them, that they're very, very left wing woke kind of.
I've heard that.
That they
Yeah,
have lots of LGBTQIA
I've heard
type
that,
stuff
yeah.
in them. I don't want to see that. To me, um, I don't care what you do as an adult, but
Right.
you don't aim any of that stuff towards anything that kids could be looking at, watching. So it's an
Yeah,
ideology, and it's a mental ideology,
right.
and uh, parents need to be able to safely teach what they want to their children about what they believe about these types of activities. And I'm not talking about feelings and emotions. I'm talking about
Yeah,
the activities that go along with those
yeah,
feelings and emotions. And anybody who ever says we need to normalize such and such, well, guess what? If you're saying that you need to normalize it, then it's probably not normal, and you can't make something normal. It either is or it is not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, over time, sure, drinking coffee in the morning has become a normal thing over time, but nobody went out of their way to normalize drinking coffee in the
Right.
morning. It just
It happened
happened, right?
organically, yeah.
Right. So, that's the kind of thing that we're talking about with that. And so, should Deadpool and Wolverine be in the parks? Um, it's
Oh, that's
such
a
a
good question.
it's a hard thing. Obviously the adults love going to see it, But when they're kids, it's hard for me. Like, would I want to bring my kid into a park knowing Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be there, be in that side of the park, and actually expose them to that, and then have the kid go, "Oh, those are awesome. Let's go watch the movie."
And
And
then
I
you have
don't.
to tell them, "No, wait, you have to wait till you're older," and then by the time they're older, the movie won't be relevant.
This movie is definitely not going to be that
Yeah,
relevant.
I heard, that some of the comedy in there and the punches are current to today, but in about 5 years down the road, it's gonna be over, what people
Speaking of
said.
that, when it comes to movie rewatchability, this is so interesting to me. There's a couple movies in the MCU that to me are incredibly rewatchable, and many that are not. And I think that a movie's success over time really has to do with its rewatchability. For example, and this is not an MCU movie, but you can drag out Spaceballs today, and it's still hilarious as it
I know, I
ever
do like space.
was. Three Amigos, hilarious, absolutely hilarious today.
Mhm.
100. Snow White. Snow White. The reason Snow White is rewatchable today, and I think this is so funny because one of the things Rachel Zegler said is that it's so dated because it was made in 1937. And I'm like, Snow White is a fairy tale written in the 1500s.
Mhm.
The story was technically dated when it came out, but the story is timeless. And the reason the
Yeah.
story is timeless is because it has to do with all of humanity, the envelope of all of humanity, and not just what.
You know, one thing that she, didn't think of, I think it's just her age and she's young, just, words getting away from her brain. A lot of these are older, they're retro, and a lot of people like watching old films because they're old. You know, not everything has brand new, shiny off the shelf to be interesting. What I like about Snow White is the history behind it. It was the first animated film to make it to the cinema in like an hour-long movie. The color, I mean, Disney, Walt just pioneered. He just set that standard for animation being in the cinema, and who wouldn't be curious to see what that looks like, you know? Uh,
Lots of new
that's
technology.
amazing.
Lots of new technology was to develop. Am I frozen?
Yeah.
I, can you hear
Yeah,
me? There we go. I'm back.
you cut out for a few seconds.
Saw that. Yeah, so lots of new technology was developed for that film. I think that was the one the multi-plane camera was
Mhm.
developed
Yep.
for. They used an animation style, but something that we almost would consider a version of projection mapping when they filmed real people for Snow White and the dwarfs and how they would move, and they had
Mhm.
never done that before, so that the animators could take that and animate them correctly for how
Yep.
humans move. The score is phenomenal. There are just things about Snow White that will always make that movie and the animated version of it a timeless classic.
Yep.
And if it's called a timeless classic, guess what? It can't really get dated. I mean,
Yeah.
because you're watching it from that perspective. I don't want to see an updated version of Snow White if they're going to make a live action that's this Snow White. Now, there's lots and lots of different versions of Snow White out there.
Mhm.
There's already, updated version like Snow White and the Huntsman and
Yeah, I've
those
seen
versions
those.
that are out
Mhm.
there. So if they're going to do this, they need to be faithful to Walt's vision of what Snow White was supposed to be, not a modern vision.
Yeah.
Best part of the Disney Studio Tour was seeing the machines that they developed to make Snow White. I
Mhm.
imagine that would be super, super, super cool. Well, I'm trying to see the other thing. Oh, so when it comes to making these movies, and I think somebody had said something about this. Here it is. Even Deadpool 3, as a great success, doesn't mean that we can trust Disney again. Of course not. They didn't make it Marvel. I mean, sorry, this was Ryan Reynolds and Fox. basically, if you watch this movie, you'll notice that the only character, I think there's like 2 characters from the MCU. The only prominent character from the old MCU that's in this is Happy Hogan. And then there's a TVA character, only one, which is kind of weird. But there's one TVA character who is in this movie that is in the Loki series. Other than that, I don't think you really see MCU, Marvel, Disney characters. You see all Fox characters representations. So from the stuff that they purchased, they're like, we purchased it back in 2017. We finally decided that 7 years later we'd actually use that stuff. So that's basically what's happening here. And it took them a long time, but yeah, I don't know that you're going to be able to trust Disney again, even when they're making decisions like the one that we're going to take a look at here. This is kind of
as parents, you've got to vet everything nowadays. It's just everywhere, and it's not for a kid to get a hold of a screen, even from a friend, family member.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's ridiculous. So over the weekend, this happened, I believe, on Saturday night while I was sleeping, and I woke up to see this news, thinking that it was fake. Sunday morning, that they have announced that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the MCU. Now, this is something that was speculated. There was rumor, a lot of rumors that have been floating around about the MCU, like Henry Cavill was cast as something in the MCU, which has turned out to be true. And those that saw the movie over the weekend know what that's about. That Chris Evans would be coming back, which has also happened. And now Robert Downey Jr. coming back. There's also talk about Scarlett Johansson coming back to the MCU. That all of these characters that they got rid of that were making them billions of dollars, they look like they're bringing back. But this is a weird announcement because RDJ was announced as coming in to play Dr. Doom. And I think that it's okay if I actually play the sound on this. There's no music in it.
One of the more entertaining characters in all of fiction. If we're going to do this, if we're going to bring him to movie theaters worldwide, then I think we're going to need the greatest actor.
Who's the actor that's going to play Dr. Doom?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go.
As proof of the unimaginable possibility.
By the way, they said that they would come back to do Secret Wars. They said that a long time ago in an interview.
The one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
Here you go. Big announcement as it was made.
Those look like Death Eaters from Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh, Robert Downey Jr. comes back to play. I love that. Go and Shogi says this. So cringe. The hammy acting makes my spine chill.
Hammy acting.
Well, and the funny thing is, what he's doing is he's doing Tony Stark Iron Man poses with this.
New mask. Same task. What did I tell you? I like playing complicated characters.
Now, he says he likes playing complicated characters, but the character he played in Weird Science wasn't that complicated.
Raph was just watching clips of Weird Science like last weekend.
Did you ever see it?
It's so random.
Yeah. It's so like that is a movie that I think that they could do a great job of actually remaking today with today's technology and AI and everything else. I would love to see a modern day version of Weird Science where the two guys make a group and use AI and they get it. I mean, it would be very, very interesting to see that done.
Funny.
If it could be done well, if it could be done humorful, and if they wouldn't automatically make it extremely blue and rated R, they can make it If they can make it PG-13, I probably want to go watch it. But a lot of people forget that Robert Downey Jr. was the jerk in that movie. He was
the older, right?
Yeah, he was the bully.
The bully.
So it was a fun movie to watch though. But yeah, so that announcement. So what are your thoughts, Erica?
I don't really have any because I don't follow comic books and heroes and the Marvel. I have a question because I'm trying to figure out just with myself. I had watched the first X-Men movie that had came out. Was it in the late 90s?
It was the year 2000, I think, is when it actually came out.
And
Actually,
I really enjoyed that one. And I assume that was like Fox at that point.
Yes, I believe it was.
Okay, because at some point, and I just can't remember at what point, I just started to lose interest because it was hard to follow the characters in the movies all in sequence. If something's not cohesive in sequence for me when it comes to sequels and prequels, you will absolutely lose me as a viewer because
I would imagine X-Men First Class, because that's what it kind of like. I didn't go to the movies to watch X-Men First Class, so X-Men 1, 2, and 3 all followed each other, and then so there was X-Men 1, 2, and 3. Then they stated that they were going to do a bunch of origin movies, and the first origin was X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, what they were supposed to do,
that was when I just kind of went, what?
Checked out,
and checked out.
Because when they did X-Men Origins Wolverine, Sabretooth was recast as a different actor and had a very different look than the original Sabretooth from X-Men 1.
Have a vague memory of that, and that there again it goes back to that cohesiveness. If it's not even with the actors and the characters, like you'll just lose me completely.
Definitely not cohesive. Karthik asks, what happened to Kang's storyline? If they do not move it forward, he will be the only supervillain who is defeated by ants. I've heard that they were recasting Kang, so perhaps they're going to do something with the character. But they're right now, as far as I know, not moving forward with that storyline in the way they were going to. It was my assumption that what we saw at the end of Ant-Man Quantumania was all fake, like that. Like it was something that we were seeing going on in Scott Lang's head, but that he was actually trapped in the quantum realm, and Kang had escaped. But they didn't show it very well. It was a very convoluted movie with pretty poor acting, and really bad writing, and did not feel, as you were saying, cohesiveness. Ant-Man 3 Quantumania did not even feel like an Ant-Man movie. They miscast Cassie Lang. It was pretty bad. Wolverine doesn't have a brother. Yes, so that's where some convoluted things started to happen in the movies. Was X-Men Origins Wolverine. So yeah, it was a little bit messed up. Yes, and that's where Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool was introduced. That is true. The first time Ryan Reynolds played the Deadpool Wade Wilson character was X-Men Origins Wolverine, and it was so bad. It was so bad that when he got to do his own version of Deadpool movies, he time traveled to go kill that version of Deadpool.
Oh my gosh. Dang. I gotta watch these movies just to off of the punchlines, really, how they just make fun of outside of
Deadpool itself. I mean, aside from it being overwhelmingly rated R, they are fun movies to watch because of how much Ryan Reynolds gets to use the fourth wall breaking thing to make fun of so many other superhero movies and genres, and he'll make fun of. He makes fun of the creators all the time. I mean, the whole opening credit sequence is making fun of the creators with nicknames.
I'd watch it just for that.
Yeah.
I like a good parody. like
I mean,
South Park.
the Deadpool movies are like a parody within a
Mhm.
regular movie. So it's I think the creativity there, especially on Reynolds' part, is very, very cool. And it's the Fantastic Four characters. They're supposed to put Kang in the quantum realm. Maybe they do, because I know that their movie takes place in the 1960s. Another convoluted storyline there's a Marvel supposedly MCU movie of the Fantastic Four that doesn't take place now, but takes place in the 60s. I don't know if they're going to bring those characters through the quantum realm into now, or what they're going to do, but the movie itself is supposed to take place in the 1960s, and the casting of it I'm not thrilled with. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards has got to be, in my estimation, some of the worst casting that I can possibly imagine. But as far as what's that?
I'm horrible at putting a name to a face.
Pedro
I know
Pascal
the names. I just cannot. I can't. I don't like. What do these people look like?
plays the Mandalorian.
Okay.
It's the same. It's the same actor from Mandalorian. But I just don't see it as. I don't see RDJ as Dr. Doom as a real casting. And I know that WDW Pro has a lot of information on that, some of which I will let him reveal as time goes on, but it definitely feels like a bait and switch. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you really wanted to have that be a big deal, I think you'd wait until the movie comes out to surprise the audience with it. Like, that would be like, imagine if you were sitting in the movie theater, had no idea who was Dr. Doom, and he takes his mask off and it's RDJ, and you're like, wow. I mean, that would be such a huge reveal in a movie theater for a movie theater audience that I'm just very surprised if they're going this direction, that RDJ is actually Victor Von Doom as we've come to know him from the comic books. It's a really very weird thing. And also it's weird that this casting is for an Avengers movie and not for a Fantastic Four movie, because Dr. Doom is the Fantastic Four's main supervillain. So yeah, you can catch up on
I'm fascinated by it now. It's just as all these movies were playing out, I didn't have time to really keep up with them. I was just too busy with life.
Well, yeah, and you've got grown kids now, right?
And now everything's come at a complete halt. So it's like now I can actually do hobbies and have time to do this stuff. And I'm like, gosh, I feel like I'm catching up from 1999 till now.
I understand. Yeah, so I mean, it's just interesting the way this stuff is going to be going. English or Spanish? My wife Virginia, I believe, is in the chat, and she can translate anything to Spanish you need, because she is a 100. Well, she's not. She speaks English and Spanish, but she's a native Spanish speaker from Venezuela. So, un poquito español para mí. So, and then Dan's Life at the Kingdom says, next, a female Silver Surfer. I think there's precedent for that in the comic books, but I don't really care. It's just not a character that I have any care for. And that's the biggest thing, is that the MCU built up a roster of characters, of people that people cared about. And I think recycling them in such a short period of time, a decade basically, is a little too soon. Especially as people get older, because you've probably noticed this. As you age, your relationship to time changes.
Yeah,
so
it does.
For me, 10 years now feels like what 1 year used to feel like in the 1980s. So, I mean, it goes by so fast.
It does.
So yeah, I think that it's going to change everything. It'll be fun to have you, like, your perspective. We can actually do some really cool things on your channel because of this, because you haven't seen a lot of the movies. you can do reaction to some of these movies, watching them through for the
I
first
never
time.
even thought of that, honestly, just doing reactions. I don't even know how much of these films my my younger son has seen.
How old's your youngest?
He's 20.
Okay, so and I have a 22-year-old. My
He'll be,
youngest is 11. He'll be
yeah, and he'll be 21 in September, so we're just 2 months away from there.
happy birthday. It's coming up. Yeah, life moves by pretty fast. So this week I got to come up with more. We have obviously changed the daily dish. It is 10:31. So the idea is to go for an hour. If there's more discussion, we can go for up to about an hour and 45. But we are going to redirect over to Culture Casino. Jeremy Heath with his member Sword in the Stone. What?
I like his profile picture.
Oh yeah. That's
That's
Mr.
awesome.
Rogers. You remember that Mr. Rogers thing?
I watched Mr. Rogers growing up as a child.
Yeah, he was doing this,
so
but
funny.
with different fingers. Yeah, I think he was doing this in that segment. There you go, Jeremy. You got a big old like on your.
Have a morbid sense of humor too.
Nah, it's perfect. You'll probably like the Deadpool movies a lot. Just don't watch them with a 5-year-old.
No.
I want to check out some of these member chats before we go. So, and I also wanted to notice I don't see her in the chat today, but Enna Greco, I don't see her here today, but Enna Greco dropped 5 memberships at the very end of the Daily Dish when I actually stopped the stream. She dropped 5 new memberships on Friday. So I don't see her this morning. If I do see her, the next time I see her in the chat, we're going to highlight her for doing that, because I absolutely appreciate that. K. Roberts says, good morning. And that it's so funny because after an hour is when we start to have more and more people come in. We've got Editopia. There's one I've never seen in the house. So welcome in, Editopia. Karthik is back. Appreciate that. Appreciate you coming back, Karthik. And when people do drop things like Enna Greco did during the show, this is the celebration that we like to have.
Is it too much? Too much. It's pathetic.
Oh, this is just the best of my scene. So if before we leave, if we see any more supers or memberships or anything like that dropped, we'll do another quick celebration. But let's see if we can get to some member chats up here. We've got a lot of members in the channel. I'm trying to see who we got. Okay, Canadian Family Life. She's just saying hi to Tuber Chat up here. But Go and Shogi also says hi to Tuber Chat. So Dan's Life at the Kingdom is talking about Deadpool, saying that it is not woke and it is safe to watch in that way. So yes,
In that regard.
as a matter of fact, it's not just not woke. He actually makes jokes. Deadpool in the movie makes jokes about the woke mob coming after him.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Movies.
They spent $100 billion to get Wolverine. Oh, I know what they're saying. It was 70 billion, I think, that they actually spent on Fox. So
okay.
Yeah. So they're saying potentially 1 billion down, it'd really be 69 billion to go. But that they bought Fox because they wanted it to expand the streaming library. The biggest thing that bothered me when they bought Fox and what they haven't used is when they destroyed the Great Movie Ride after buying Fox. And I'm like, why would you destroy the great movie ride when you just expanded your library of IP that you're not going to have to pay extra money for, like you did to MGM? So,
I have really mixed feelings about that. So, but shut the attraction down when we went to the studios. I was really surprised to see that there was like a decline in people going on the ride. I never understood it because these are just all classic movies and it's such a classic attraction. I don't know what it was that a lot of tourists just didn't really seem to gravitate to it anymore. I was hoping for an update, but not a
yeah.
complete reform of what it turned into. Nothing against the Mickey ride. It's cute and it's for kids, but it also isn't really in theme with the Hollywood, especially
No.
when you're on that part of the
My
park, you know?
my issue, yes, and that part of the park, I have a simple issue with that ride, and that is that we have wasted space in the animation courtyard with the Star Wars launch bay that does not
I'm
need to
really
be there.
annoyed with that.
The whole point of
I loved
launch
when it was
bay,
animation. I loved the
yeah,
tour growing up. I
I
wanted to work for animation went and then little by little they just started taking chunks out. And then the whole Star Wars and it's just become this, I don't know, catch-all that doesn't make any sense of an area. It's just they're putting random things back there, and a lot of that space, back there is office space. Don't ask me how I know.
I know personally that it's office space because I was a cast member and I've been back there, so I
And I
can tell
found
you
that
where
interesting. I'm
I
like,
can
"So
tell
you're
you where the big
taking."
break room is and where the little break room is.
Yeah, I'm
I
sitting
mean,
here, I'm like, "Okay, so you're taking space that was once for the public and for show, and now it's behind now it's
oh,
backstage."
I
I'm
did
like,
that at the
"Okay."
Contemporary the other day. I was at the Contemporary, and there's this kind of, I called it my secret bathroom that I used to use. If you take the elevator on the Contemporary to the third floor, there's only one thing on the third floor, and that is the fitness center.
Hmm,
And it's kind of weird, and that's because the rest of the third floor is backstage area for cast and break rooms and all that kind of stuff. I've been to
okay.
most of it, but you used to be able to go past the fitness center to a hallway, go around the corner, and there were restrooms there, and then they had office space past that.
Mhm.
Now the public can't use those restrooms anymore.
Ah,
So they blocked it off and said cast members only to that little
yeah.
back hallway. And I'm like, you're taking all my secrets away from me.
I know, the little nuggets.
The little there's just like lots of little places that I would love to go. I like to go because I know Walt Disney World as well as I
Yeah.
do. Where I can go to like my little secret places and stuff. Fairbrick Studio is in the house and says, "Hey, Ron." There's another member chat for us. And Jeremy Heath's got a membership now, so he says, "Thumbelina, tall man." And Wayne says, "How's people today?" Well, we're doing pretty well. Our little chat, but again, going back to what we were talking about, especially as it relates to Fox buying
Mhm.
this, buying Fox, buying the IP. What they should have done, um, they should have, because Launch Bay, they had already gotten rid of all the stuff that you and I liked as far as the animation stuff in
Mhm.
where Launch Bay sits. But
Mm.
Launch Bay was never supposed to be there once Galaxy's Edge opened. So why not take that huge space that's just being wasted where Launch Bay is? There's a theater back there that's not even open right now, that's not in use. And they could have taken that space and made that into Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and
Mm.
updated the Great Movie Ride to have more of the Fox movies, more of the Disney stuff. The Great Movie Ride, I wish it would have been the Great Disney Movie Ride and showed off Disney and then the later stuff that they purchased with
Yeah.
Marvel. I guess they weren't allowed to have, are still not allowed to have, because it's east of the Mississippi and Universal has those rights. So they
Mhm.
can't put Marvel movie stuff in there except for Guardians. But they still could have had Guardians in there. They could have had, I mean, there's all kinds of things that they could have done. They just totally not, it's to do it. My mom is here. She says, "I'm here. Forgot to check in. Been watching from the beginning." Well, you're up early today. So yeah. Well, I appreciate Erica coming in for sure. Thank you so much. Tell people about your channel, what you're doing, and where they can see you.
Well, it's hanging with Erica and Raf. That's my husband. And we're basically just filming life overseas as military and expats. We're also early empty nesters. So that's our content at the moment. The filming style is changing. We're still trying to figure out what is going to work for us and the channel. So if you see a lot
I've
of
been doing it for over a year and I'm still figuring it out too. So I'll be figuring out the rest of my life. That never stops.
yeah, if it seemed a little random, well, it's because we're figuring things out as we go. But the slogan or the, I guess, philosophy is we're sharing our life experiences as we discover new ones because we are definitely in a new space in life with the kids being grown. We're parents. So we are literally discovering it's like life is just kind of hitting a reset button.
I like
At
the
this phase.
early empty nester aspect of it. Because
Yeah, it's
my wife and
strange.
I are going to be late empty nesters. We will be in our 60s by the time our children are grown and gone. And I don't know if they'll even be gone. They may just keep living with
Yeah,
us
I'm in no
forever.
rush to get this one out the door. I'm like, it's expensive out there. So, and he's in either. We're okay with that.
Why was Thor crying in Deadpool and Wolverine? We don't know yet. We don't know. Although that could have been just a completely empty tease of something that's never ever going to happen too. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well, we shall see. As far as my stuff is concerned, I am on the Daily Dish now, Monday through Friday. We've had the opportunity to upgrade the stream thanks to the generosity of all of you out there. And you guys are the ones we're doing this for. Keep that generosity coming. We've got one more upgrade that we want to get in so that we can stream in 1080p instead of 720 and higher quality. And yes. So this is a slight upgrade that we're going to be able to continue throughout the month of August. And hopefully we get enough funding that we can also upgrade again when we go into September. So let's see. We've got Going Shogi. I love this one. When is Thor not crying? That's pretty funny. Thor does a lot. Love and Thunder, man, that was horrible. God, I don't know what that did to Chris Hemsworth. Hello, sir. I wish RDJ and the Marvel don't kill Tony Stark's legacy and heroism because at the end of the day, Dr. Doom is an egotistic maniac who is just there to destroy the universe, and I 1000% agree. It is not the right character for RDJ to play. So I'm not 100% sure that we're going to see a legit Victor Von Doom being played by RDJ, but it feels like a bait and switch and something else is happening. There's a pot being stirred there, but we don't know yet exactly. And I know that I'm not seeing any supers. I'm just going to double check real quick and make sure I didn't miss anything. I didn't see any supers, but I still, before we leave, like to play the celebration one more time. Let's have a good time with the celebration.
Too much? Too much? It's perfect!
Hey, this is just the best of my scene. And again, I want to thank Anna Greco for dropping 5 gifted memberships last Friday at the very, very end of the stream. So if you're rewatching or if you watch later, I'll be certain to announce it again, Anna. But hopefully you will see that. So we've got you acknowledged fairly. And maybe you'll be here tomorrow. Let's hope so. Thank you so much, Erica, for being with us today. And you're one of the few people that I can have on this early because it's not that early for you.
It's like 3 p.m. over here or 4 p.m. now, almost 5.
Yeah, so we probably will invite Erica back quite a bit. But for now, we are going to say until next time, we will see you real soon. Say hi to Culture Casino for me because we're going right over to Culture right after this. Ciao, everybody.
Ciao.